The preseason AP Top 25 poll for the upcoming college basketball season has just been released, and this just means we are one step closer to when college basketball is officially back. And in today's video, we're going to react to the AP Top 25 poll, and I'm going to give my thoughts on each of these teams heading into the new season, and if I think they were ranked correctly. But before we jump into the rankings, if you enjoy the content, please consider dropping a like on the video and subscribing as it helps support the channel. And now, let's jump into it. Now, before we get into the actual AP Top 25, I wanted to quickly go over some of the teams that are receiving votes and just missed out on the rankings. And NC State comes in as the first team out of the top 25 and are located right behind their rival UNC for a place in the rankings. And I had NC State ranked at number 25 in the preseason, so this isn't far from where I had them, but this should give Will Wade's squad some extra motivation heading into year one and leaves a lot of room for upward movement throughout the season. Another team that I had ranked but finds itself outside of the AP poll rankings is the San Diego State Aztecs, and I strongly believe this is a top 25 team heading into this season. The return of Miles Byrd and Magoon Gwath, along with a great coach in Brian Dutcher and one of the nation's best defenses, should be more than enough to have this team ahead of some of the others ranked above them. And the last unranked team I want to mention is the Kansas State Wildcats, and the fact that they are even receiving votes and are ahead of teams like Iowa, Baylor, and even Virginia is just crazy to me. PJ Haggerty is a stud, and Nate Johnson and Abdi Bashir were great transfer portal additions for the Wildcats, but I feel like they need more to be this close to the top 25. But jumping into the rankings and coming in at number 25 is North Carolina, which is the Tar Heels' lowest preseason ranking since 2005. And I had them slightly higher at number 22 in my rankings, but this feels like a make or break year for Hubert Davis after last season's first round NCAA tournament exit. But there's plenty of potential with 5-star freshman Caleb Wilson and Arizona transfer Henry Vesar on the front court, and they have a backcourt featuring returner Seth Trimble, plus the newcomers of Kean Evans and Luka Bogovic. Wisconsin comes in at number 24 in the AP poll. Creighton finds themselves at number 23 in the rankings, and they're one of 3 Big East schools in the top 25 to start the season, even despite losing Ryan Kalkbrenner and Stephen Ashworth. But the Jays have reloaded through the portal, with Iowa transfers Owen Freeman and Josh Dix leading the way, alongside returning sophomore Jackson McAndrew. And we know McDermott's offensive system will be elite, but the defensive questions this team has is what made me have them just outside the top 25 in my preseason rankings. Tom Izzo's Michigan State Spartans land at number 22 in the preseason poll as they gear up to defend their Big Ten title, and honestly, this feels about right for what the Spartans roster lost and with the injury to Caleb Gleb during the offseason. But with the breakout potential of Cohen Carr and the solid returning core of Jeremy Fears Jr., Jackson Kohler, Carson Cooper, and Samford transfer Trey Fort, this team is talented enough to compete again in the Big Ten and make a run in March. Coming in at number 21 is the Gonzaga Bulldogs, and Mark Few and the Zags have now been ranked in the preseason AP poll for their 16th consecutive year. But with this, Gonzaga also has their lowest preseason ranking in over a decade, being ranked at number 21. And although this ranking is way too low in my opinion, I think it's due to multiple factors, like the uncertainty around transfer Tyon Grant Foster and the inexperience in the backcourt. But the Zags' talent level is off the charts this season, and it's a big reason why I had them in my top 20. Auburn opens the year at number 20 with Stephen Pearl stepping into his first season as head coach following his father Bruce Pearl's unexpected retirement. And the Tigers feature a roster that was almost completely overhauled following what was arguably the program's best season ever last year, with Tahad Pettiford being the only key returner for the Tigers. They also brought in transfers Keyshawn Hall and Keyshawn Murphy to help bolster the front court, but being ranked 20th seems about right with what this roster currently is, even without Bruce Pearl. Kansas starts the season at an unfamiliar number 19 in the rankings, and the Jayhawks began the season as the preseason top-ranked team in each of the last 2 years and will instead start as the lowest-ranked Big 12 program in the top 25. And this isn't surprising, as Kansas has massively underperformed during the last 3 seasons and is about right where I expected they would be in the rankings. But this version of Kansas could be completely different, with 5-star freshman and potential number 1 overall pick Darren Peterson, whose talent alone elevates both the ceiling and the floor of this Kansas team. Coming in at number 18 is the Tennessee Volunteers, who continue their streak of 6 consecutive top 20 rankings to start the season. And although the Volunteers lost a lot of key pieces, especially Zakai Ziegler and Chaz Lanier from last year's team, both the AP poll and KenPom rankings seem to be pretty high on Tennessee. And although I have them a few spots lower in my rankings, the additions of Jacoby Gillespie and 5-star freshman Nate Ament should keep Tennessee firmly in the conversation for the top of the SEC. Ranked at number 17 in the AP Top 25 is Illinois. Altenberger and the Iowa State Cyclones come in at number 16 in the preseason AP poll and return more production than any team in the Big 12 this season, with Taman Lipsey, Joshua Jefferson, and Milan Monkilovic leading the way. They are the 5th highest ranked team in the Big 12 and are projected to once again be among the best defensive teams in the entire country. The main knock on this squad is at the other end of the floor, but if the Cyclones can score consistently, this ranking should just keep going up. Ranked number 15 is Nate Oates and Alabama, following back-to-back Elite 8 appearances and come in as the 4th highest rated SEC team. And the Crimson Tide welcome back 5 players from last year's squad, including LeBaron Philon, whose decision to return is one of the main reasons for Alabama's preseason ranking this year, along with Aiden Holloway and Latrell Wrightsell. They also added in key transfers in Jalil Bethea, Noah Williamson, and Taylor Bowen to round out what should be a very good SEC team. Coming in at number 14 is the Arkansas Razorbacks, and even after all the chaos in John Calipari's first season in Fayetteville, his team still had a chance to reach the Elite 8 before their collapse against Texas Tech. And unlike most Calipari teams, the Razorbacks this year are returning several key players, including DJ Wagner, Carter Knox, and Trevin Brazil. And on top of that, they added 5-star freshman Darius Acuff Jr. and some key transfers, which could make this a top 10 team at some point this season. Arizona lands at number 13 in the AP Top 25 rankings, which seems about right for a team that lost significant production in the offseason, with Caleb Love and Carter Bryant heading to the NBA. But Tommy Lloyd and the Wildcats made up for it by landing a pair of 5-star freshmen in Koa Pete and Braden Burries, who will immediately take on starring roles for a team that also returns Jaden Bradley and Anthony Delorso in the backcourt, along with big men Toby Awako and Motias Krivas, to form a roster that should compete for a Big 12 title. UCLA will open the season ranked number 12 in the AP poll and as the 3rd highest ranked team in the Big 10, and Mitt Cronin and the Bruins will return 4 key contributors from last season's team, including Tyler Bilodeau and Eric Daly Jr., as well as one of, if not the best point guard transfers in the entire country in Mountain West Player of the Year, Donovan Dent. And with Dent running the offense this season and Cronin's defensive schemes, UCLA has a path to being one of the best teams in the Big 10. Coming in at number 11 is the Louisville Cardinals, who shocked the college basketball world in Pat Kelsey's first year, going 27-8 and finishing 2nd in the ACC. And the Cardinals look even better this season, as Kelsey added 5-star freshman Mikal Brown Jr., along with 3 stud transfers in Ryan Conwell, Isaac McNeely, and Adrian Woodley. And I truly believe Louisville has the talent to be a team that's playing for a national title this spring, and I would be very surprised if they don't end the season in the top 10. Landing in the top 10 at number 10 is the Texas Tech Red Raiders, whose ranking is the highest in program history to start the season. And Texas Tech is one of 3 Big 12 teams in the top 10, which is more than any other conference. And Grant McCasland and the Red Raiders are coming off a trip to the Elite 8 and returned Big 12 Player of the Year JT Toppin, along with all Big 12 freshman Christian Anderson, who will form one of the best duos in the entire country and lead the Red Raiders this season. Mark Pope and the Kentucky Wildcats will start year 2 of the Pope era ranked number 9 in the AP poll, and to be honest, this is too low for the Wildcats, as there's no reason for this team not to be a national contender with the amount of talent it has. Pope returned 4 key pieces from last year's team, including Otega Owe, who is the preseason SEC Player of the Year, and the Wildcats also brought in one of the best transfer classes, which includes Jaden Quaintance, Jalan Lowe, Denzel Aberdeen, and more, and Kentucky looks like one of the deepest teams in the entire country. BYU comes in at number 8, marking the Cougars' first appearance in the preseason poll since 2010, and their highest ever preseason ranking from the AP poll. And the Cougars are the 2nd highest ranked Big 12 team in the preseason top 25 after making the Sweet 16 last year in Kevin Young's first season with the team. and Kevin Young's squad looks even better this year with the arrival of 5-star freshman phenom AJ Debinsa and one of the top transfer classes, which includes Rob Wright and Kennard Davis, while returning an All-American caliber player in Richie Saunders. And just like Kentucky, this ranking seems way too low for the Cougars. Coming in at number 7 is the Michigan Wolverines, who are the second highest ranked team in the Big Ten this preseason. And considering the additions to Dusty May's team this year, especially with top transfer Yaxel Lindeborg deciding to play for the Wolverines rather than entering the NBA draft, along with some veteran returning players, it's no surprise to see the Wolverines in the top 10 to start this season. But coming in ahead of teams like Kentucky and BYU is a bit of a head scratcher for me. Duke comes in at number 6, which is one spot above where Cooper Flagg and the Blue Devils were ranked in last year's preseason AP poll. And unsurprisingly though, Duke is the highest of 3 ranked teams from the ACC, and Shire has one of the most talented teams in the country, which features returning sophomore guard and breakout candidate Isaiah Evans and 5-star freshman forward Cameron Boozer. But there are question marks surrounding this Duke program heading into the new season with how young and inexperienced this team is, but it seems that the AP voters have no issue with it. Rick Pitino and the St. John's Red Storm are ranked number 5 entering the season, and the hype around the Johnnies is real. St. John's being at number 5 is the highest preseason ranking in program history, and after reaching the second round of the NCAA tournament last season and loading up in the transfer portal by adding players like Bryce Hopkins and Ian Jackson, it's clear why. And although there are concerns about the point guard position heading into this season, the talent level is elite for St. John's, and it's that of a Final Four team. And I trust Rick Pitino will have this team ready to go. Coming in at number 4 is the UConn Huskies, and Dan Hurley's squad is the top-ranked team out of the Big East after barely edging out St. John's in the preseason poll. And although UConn had a disappointing season last year after winning the previous 2 national championships, the Huskies look primed to bounce back with the return of Alex Caravan, Solo Ball, and Taurus Reed, as well as the additions of Silas Demery and Braylon Mullins. And UConn even received some votes to be the number 1 team in the nation, and it's clear why. The defending national champion Florida Gators come in at number 3 to start the season, and the Gators earned 8 first-place votes, as well as their highest preseason ranking since the last time they entered a year as reigning champions. And Todd Golden had a tough task this offseason, having to replace nearly his entire backcourt, but he brought in Boogie Fland and Xavier Lee to form what could be one of the best backcourts in the country. But the main selling point of this Gators team is their frontcourt, as Florida returns their entire frontcourt from last season's title team, which will play a huge role in their pursuit of winning it all once again. Kelvin Sampson and the Houston Cougars will start the season ranked number 2 in the AP poll, earning 16 first-place votes to match the program's best ever preseason AP ranking. And though the Cougars will be without players like Jawan Roberts and LJ Cryer this season, Sampson returns 3 starters from last season's team in Milos Uzan, Emmanuel Sharp, and reigning Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year Joseph Tugler. And unlike other years, Sampson also added 3 top 20 recruits in the offseason, with the most notable being Chris Sanak. And after falling just short in last season's national championship, the Cougars look poised to make another run at a national title. And coming in at the number 1 spot in the preseason AP Top 25 poll is the Purdue Boilermakers, who will start the season as the number 1 team in the nation for the first time in program history. Purdue earned 35 of the 61 first-place votes to top the preseason poll, and I have had Purdue as my top-ranked team all offseason as well. And now, it seems like Purdue has a national championship or bust vibe heading into this season. But these lofty expectations are justified with the return of All-American guard Braden Smith, All-Big Ten forward Trey Kaufman-Renn, and senior guard Fletcher Lawyer. And Matt Painter didn't stop there, as he solidified the front court through the portal with South Dakota State transfer Oscar Clough, and even added Israeli guard Omir Mayer, who could be a potential X-factor for this team. But with all of these pieces, the Purdue Boilermakers look to be positioned to make a championship run. And that wraps it up for today's video. Let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are on the official preseason AP Top 25 rankings. Was there a team that you think was ranked way too high or way too low or not even included in the top 25? Also, if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. Make sure to check out my own preseason top 25 rankings, as the link will be in the description, and make sure to stay tuned for more college basketball content. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.